support.
Take it down a notch, all right? Well, we're going to see what the draft strategy is going to be, as highlighted on the desk. Executional questions, but still a lot of solid moments from the Cloud9 squad overall. FPX, bit of a false start there, coming out swinging, and now we get to see how the teams adjust in the draft.
And Dracos, this was my biggest concern. It was going to be, are FPX going to target Blabber in the picks and bans right at the bat, and taking away the Lee Sin immediately, one of the most sought after junglers at the moment. Then taking away the LeBlanc, one of the champions here that's been very safe in mid lane, blindable even a lot of the times, even though there are plenty of counters, and one of the ones that Perks has gotten a lot of accolades on.
Certainly. Perks, a very iconic player on the champion. Of course, the RNG Game 5, the easy one to call back to. But he's had a long career history, played against a lot of the best mid laners and AD carries.
Haha, there she is. Yumi out.
We were looking at the stats before this, though, and we were...
Oh, come on, man.
No, should I say?
Yeah,
well,
go.
NA is the only region to lose with Yumi so far, but despite that...
Both losses.
Two of two losses from Yumi are from North America, but they're still giving that respect over to Cloud9. Sven and Vulcan were still a force to be reckoned with in the laning phase, but an easy Leona first pick, not surprising to see MF picked up on the opposite side.
So are they going to do something like the Sven Ezreal, because Aphelios already banned out by Cloud9 themselves, and with the misfortune snapped up here by FPX, wondering if they actually want to play more look towards top side and just let Vulcan go for roams with the Leona, link up with Blabber. This is where they have found a lot of success. Leona's definitely one of the best supports to roam around with your jungler, so yeah, does make so much sense if you just grab the Ezreal early on to pair with it.
I really like it, frankly. I've seen Sven Ezreal across so many years, and in general, just freeing up your Leona to roam feels like a primo strategy. Supports have been so influential, whether it's been, you know, the Yumis or the more standard engaged support options. But now the Jarvan locked in by Tian on the opposite side. I think this pick has been... I was ready to cancel it after yesterday. I was like, please no more. It looked so crap. But earlier today, it was pretty good, pretty consistent.
Ooh, I love this, an answer to it. Okay, I was going to go to bat for the Jarvan, especially since the LPL specifically has such a long history with this champion of success. And when you're looking at FPX, so many of them can come from these big combinations. It just makes sense. When you have big AoE like Misfortune Ultimate, you know, Jarvan, Cataclysm does make a lot of sense. But you have to look at the carries you're trying to use it into. When you pick Jarvan into carries like Ezreal that already have dashes, Cataclysm all of a sudden not so useful. Those big wombo combos not as secure. And so since it's so early in the draft a lot of these times, even if you do layer it with the Doomby Galio that we called out for last time and is a possibility this time around, you need other forms of CC to actually lock them down. So that's why I love the Rakan follow-up here. But the Kiana can actually use Cataclysm Wall against the Jarvan, you know, creates more walls, more space for the ultimate to actually bounce around on. And I'm pretty sure it's going to go into the hands of Blabber here. This is the type of champion I love seeing him on. Assassin, you can build up, you can play around Blabber, you can get him some kills. He's going to go super ham with it, but we'll leave the door open for the flex pick. Because you can still play it mid lane if you get a good matchup there and you need to flex it later in the draft.
And certainly having that flexibility is going to be a good look. Jarvan has exclusively been the jungle pick for most of this tournament, but could also see that flexed around really depending. You are seeing the Graves band away, makes a lot of sense. I think this champion is ludicrous despite some of the matchups that we saw earlier in the day. TF now also taken off the board. Obviously really strong interaction to the Kiana stealth, taking that away, and we've seen how important global pressure can be. Now a little bit of a targeted ban here onto Perks, taking away the Sylas. And I think just across the board, I like seeing these target bans. I like seeing these focus bans in the second phase, but I do want to see, especially for FPX, how they round out this composition, because as you said, they've got these nice combo pieces, they've got this nice engage, they've got an MF to pair with it. Are we going to get more big AoE CC, big AoE damage, or are they going to look for some strong independent solo laners?
I mean, yesterday they went with the Galio, the Doomby Galio we've been talking up, his must play from playoffs, and it could fit here as well, but you might be shaken by the day one there versus Dom1 not having the success. The AP is actually going to come in the form of Kennen, so that lifts that burden of AP solo lane on the side of FPX. Meanwhile, Cloud9 still need it. That's why I like the Sylas ban there, because LeBlanc and Sylas have been two of the best AP choices for Perks. Does leave open possible rise for split pushing for later. He's actually been one of the best with the Realm Warps, using them both early on for side lane pressure, but also for the big Baron sneak plays and the like, where you're teleporting minions around for rotations, inhibitor swaps, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and certainly Always good to see Perks on this champion, but it is one of the more immobile champions that can't often come
Got a song attached to it.
Yeah,
there,
it does.
Draco,
yeah.
So,
we'll
leave it at that.
Yeah,
you
we'll
know,
leave it
don't
at
go
that.
into the
Actually,
details.
that's so good. Now neither of us want to sing the song. It's a bad song for both of us. We'll see if today is a song singing day. We'll leave it at that. But now we've got a Malzahar locked in. So while there was room previously for these highly mobile champions to evade the Wombo combo, there is now a highly skilled button. It's the R button, and you can use it to shut down so many of these champions that want to dive in, like the Camille, like the Kiana. Ezreal has to be careful with that positioning, and don't be a Malzahar. I'm ready to see it.
Yeah, I mean, already just from draft phase, you're thinking Cloud9's going to want to play to spread the map much more than FPX. FPX, as you're mentioning, they have so many things that make it difficult to play assassins like the Kiana into. Kennen Ultimate is already just a minefield, incredibly large AoE that makes it very difficult, but with Malzahar can point and click either you or the Ryze. You know, short range definitely going to be a detriment there. So spread the map, try and get some early leads, push out your side lanes, and pull them apart. Don't let them build off of their synergies. It's going to be one of the big goals. FPX, though, have been so good at combining these synergies in the past. So definitely expect them to come out with a little bit of chip on their shoulder, starting off the tournament with a loss. And they might be, Cloud9 might be the ones on the receiving end of some angry FPX.
And I think that's a terrifying place to be. But I think the good news for Cloud9 is, well, yes, you are staring down at Jarvan, and Jarvan can be highly impactful in the early game. Kennen, Malzahar, not as much immediate, reliable setup CC as just an EW combo from the Ryze or a hookshot wall dive from the Camille. So maybe there's some room for Blabber to come into these lanes. There's Leona there too. Just get aggressive, build an early lead, and never give,
Not reliable? The Malzahar R is pretty reliable.
Level 6, dude.
Oh,
no, wait.
So, yeah, you also have the famous call out on Cadril with the cancel.
I do.
So unreliable. I
It's
see.
just, Cadril, if you're watching, this is a historic moment. You could finally, in pro play, not be the only one. Fingers crossed for Doonby. Will he cancel it? That's the question.
I'm just looking forward to when he gets to join us for our next cast.
He can never escape that. Sadly for him, it's his most iconic
That's your
pro play
guys' thing
moment.
here, right? You always come back to that one.
Yeah, we flame Cadril. And it's a highlight reel, but those are like the fan favorites, I think, of opportunity. In general, though, no crazy level 1 shenanigans coming out quite yet, but it is Cloud9 laying down at least a little bit of early vision to track where Tion's going to end up. Hugely important, as mentioned and highlighted just across all these Jarvan games. Very strong first few levels. He gets a successful early gank. He is a very terrifying champion to deal with.
Some of the most impressive things about the wins from the teams that are dominating so far in the early stages of the group stage here at Worlds have been, you know, things coming from like EDG and Damwon, where they put intensive effort into tracking the opponent jungler for the entirety of this early game. So much effort put into these wards on buffs, just trying to find your starting location, then tracking them through. Your top laner pushes up, goes put the deep ward onto Krugs. These sorts of things have led to a lot of the security and the stability for those top teams that have been absolutely smashing. Now, the early ward there, although it does get swept away and cleared off the blue buff, does give them the info. Jarvan, bottom side.
Bit of trading back and forth here. Just going to be the Guardian traded for the Aftershock, essentially, but LWX and Crisp taking a lot more initial damage. Edgley, of course, notoriously strong in the early lane before first back when MF gets another item under a belt, and he's usually forced to go into the tier. But as long as Sven is hitting Qs, those early trades are not going to be too difficult.
Yeah, plus notice they're not requiring them to leash at all. You should pretty much never require an Ezreal to leash, because this champion, it makes logical sense, right? When you think about the kit, has not a lot of wave control early on, but great poke. So if you get to start in the lane, you get to auto the wave, you get to try and get it to push, then you get to open up these opportunities where you're looking for these aggressive Leona combinations, and you get to actually poke them under turret. Whereas if you make them leash, then they have to, you know, deal with pushing wave, have to catch up. They don't get to make use of the poke early on. And it's a completely different story. I mean, I have my own reasons for not requiring Ezreals to push, though, because in solo queue, if you require them to, then all of a sudden they're going to be crying all game long. Where's my tier? I need my Sheen back.
Look, which is really weird, because like clearly you don't, most people don't pick Ezreal to do anything other than like be safe, strong, independent AD carry who doesn't need anybody else. And that's how they present it right up until they need something from you, and they're like, but the jungler, where were the ganks? Support, why did you roam? We'll have to see if that's going to be the strat, though. Vulcan getting a little aggressive. He's going to take a tower shot. Lots of aggressive trading on the bottom side. Oftentimes teams will just concede the push, but Sven and Vulcan fighting for every wave that they do have to push in there.
Yeah, and successfully allowing Blabber to grab bottom side crab. Should be traded with top side. Doinb and FPX very well know bottom side controlled there by Blabber, by Cloud9. So you can see this positioning is what you need to do as mid laner. They shouldn't over chase because
it's going to be the setup though. Waterblade there as well. Easy follow-up. Tien just saw them coming and stayed focused on the crab. Blabber, can you move in and snipe this one away? Blabber, full commit, goes over the...
Oh! Dracos! They can't lose! Blabber got both crabs and they got first blood.
No MSI. There's no memes. Blabber's not dying to crabs. Things are starting good.
It's kind of weird though, because I was in the process of complimenting Doinb for top positioning towards top side by his jungler, but just a little bit lazy on the pathing there. Doesn't quite get out of range, and very good job by Perks. Didn't even have to flash. Just pops the shield off, land the root, set it up for Blabber, comes in on Qiyana, makes it look great. You chain your CC, and the Malzahar is dead early. That is a huge goal when you're facing a team comp like this. As we're talking about earlier in Champ Select on trying to build on those synergies, trying to get that Malzahar to level 6 for your point and click setup stun. So Cloud9 striking first is definitely very good news for them, especially since the gold going into the hands of Blabber on that Qiyana, the most aggressive player on the team, wants to start invading, get that level 6, look for your 100% to zeros.
Absolutely. Early Iron Spike whiff as well, going to help not only with the potential damage outburst, but the clear to a certain degree. Fudge, though, TPing back to the top side, very much in a hole in the early game. 15 CS down, and on the bottom side, as aggressive as Sven and Vulcan have been, the CS slightly favoring LWX at the moment. Sven's going to catch that wave, and things should even up. But overall, while they did get pressure, haven't been able to do too much with it quite yet. So keeping our eyes, again, C9, we knew pre-level 6, they had the better setup. The concern becomes when Doinb ticks over to that all-important level 6, can they find the setup and engage in the mid lane? Going to be difficult for Perks. He goes for TP. Cleanse wouldn't have worked anyway, despite what Riot support might tell you. So, difficult options.
Perks doing a good job pushing the wave as well, and you can see the early link up there of Leona with the Qiyana Blabber, trying to fight for vision all around mid lane to make sure they can keep this power. And this screenshot right here perfectly encapsulates what everyone was then screaming about for this meta is support jungle roaming with mid lane, unlocking mid lane, getting full vision control around this lane, and then trying to use that to move into enemy territory, either setting up these kills on the opponent mid laner or taking over jungle camps. And that is demonstrated here by Cloud9. Let's see if they actually find someone on the blast cone over, because support roam timers have been matched now by Crisp.
Tien here, they have to be careful though, not going to be level 6. Blabber's going to back off here. They're taking their time on this one. They do not want to overcommit, but Fudge and Perks are also in the area. That said, even 4v3, a tower dive at 6 minutes is still a highly risky proposition. Good news, Doinb in the mid lane, no mana whatsoever. He's instantly going to pop a biscuit. That's going to be clutch as it gives him just enough time to instantly turn it off. Point and click. He did not cancel it, and he will get his kill.
Beautiful there from Doinb, and Fudge just gets locked up under the tower. Oh my goodness, the hook shot right in, and Doinb says, thank you very much for the payback.
Oh, you didn't notice the biscuits in my inventory? Did I look out of mana to you, sir? I mean, it's clever. Got to give it to him.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud9 were on a roll as far as the rotations there. Basically, you want to move your support jungle mid-pressure there with the buildup of these big waves. So Fudge, doing accordingly, builds up his wave on top side. They slow push it into the top. They make their pass up there to try and get their timing correct as far as pushing Kennen off the wave. But then on the rotation back, just a little bit over-aggressive right under the tower. And all it takes is the little old R button trick with some tower damage.
And Doinb doing work in that context, but overall, right up until the moment where Fudge died, it was positive for Cloud9. They are moving across the map. They were starting to accumulate a little bit of a lead that has now evened out. Only about 300 gold for Cloud9 in their favor at this moment. Have to see what they can do. Bot lane staying relatively even. The support's mostly what we're looking at because bot laners are just farming, but we're going to track that Malzahar ulti cooldown very closely. I was expecting a little bit more involvement from Jarvan in some of those mid lane plays, but I guess when Fudge comes into Doinb, he doesn't really need to be there.
Yeah, Fudge definitely having a rough time because, obviously early on in the lane phase, bullied out by Kennen, so a bit of a CS discrepancy trying to work back from, but hookshotting there under the tower after Doinb has flashed is definitely going to be a painful one. Meanwhile, starting out this Rift Herald here with the early support roam, matched 4 versus 4 on top side. Ezreal ultimate can come from Cloud9 as well. Definitely shouldn't underestimate the damage that can add for a Rift fight.
They're just trying to burst down the Camille, though. Instantly going to dodge, though. The follow-up CC is there. Kenanol trying to get something back. Fudge is still living for now. They do manage to take him down. Tien just a sliver of health. Vulcan now going in once again. Now the other roll from downtown will not connect onto Tien, but Nagri will drop. Crisp now running for the hills. Do they have any more seed? The lockdown should be there. Rakan not going to be able to jump back out to safety. Cloud9 getting the kills. Herald still getting taken down. That is good for the side of Cloud9.
Yeah, and you can see Blabber taking that Herald immediately back towards the mid lane, pinging on the wave as well. I wonder if they want to push top and mid at the same time to get the maximum out of this little death timer window, get some turret plate money going.
Malzahar still resetting the Malefic Visions. Still Tien on the top side. They are going to get the TP mid coming in from Nuguri. Not afraid to just instantly adjust their lane assignments on the fly to make sure they don't lose anything else. But the Herald still held on to here. Cloud9 clearly hoping for more than just 2 plates off the back of that one. That said, Vulcan's going to be in hot... Oh.
Yeah, he was able to dodge it.
Turning around, is going to go in, is going to go for the stun to interrupt. Perk's still getting lower, has to be careful, has to respect potential burst damage, but he's just walking in, he's playing on the edge of match, he's playing on the edge. Zombie already going down. Tien, he has to wait for his cooldowns to come back up. He gets another flag and drag, maybe Perks will drop, but he will not. Fudge now coming in, FPX stick around a little too long. Vulcan hiding out in the bush gets so much for the team, but now Sven trying to survive. Tower aggro tanked by Crisp, but Blabber on the way, and I see 2 juicy low health targets, an Iron Spike Whip, and a very hungry Kiana. Step forward. Flash out. Good patience from FPX. If they would have flashed early, it could have turned against them, but do manage to make it out.
Yeah, decent amount of extra cooldowns earned there by Blabber, considering he doesn't have ult to get the big name in lights, double kill down bottom into Rift Herald activation, but does get the flash off of the Misfortune. And really the big winner for Cloud9 has been throughout this Perks, and he spent his money in an intelligent way to avoid the shutdown from 2&B. All of this early money from Perks, you know, a lot of it invested into the QSS. So it does delay a little bit the full build, but it really enhances, and since he has gotten so many of the kills, it's still going to be on a pretty quick pace here, setting up Cloud9 for that split push opportunity to pull across the map to try and separate some of these teamfight tools from the side of FPX. So Perks, he's writing a different song this time around, okay? Yeah, maybe you keep the first part the same, the easier sucks, but the Rise is sick, okay?
The Rise is good. The support roams are good too. Vulcan been on point so far, 100% kill participation. Maybe looking for something else here. Have to respect Tien on the top side. Crisp with the follow-up. No level 6 for the Rakan yet, crucially. LWX no ultimate either. They have not spotted out the J4. Sven, of course, not the immobile hyper carry you might hope to lock down, but will only have the 1 escape alongside the flash. That's 2 escapes. That's a lot. He should be fine. I didn't see the flash was up. I had to adjust. I didn't see the flash was up.
He's got the 1 escape plus the other 1 escape. That's looking good.
That's 2 with Sesame Street, baby. We're counting. Nuguri going in, but it looks like he might just get dropped. Fudge still holding on. Going back under the enemy tower. Nuguri holding on. Instantly going to see the staring contest here on the top side. Fudge, though, winning out for now. 2&B gets the reset on the Malefic Visions, but Blabber's in the area. It's an absolute bloodbath. It's an absolute mess, but it's Cloud9 who are coming out on top. Empowered route into the Blabber double kill. Herald can immediately be dropped on the top side to break it down. LWX, he's grabbing a couple tower plates, but it's Cloud9 destroying the top side.
Exactly. Cloud9 are going to get that first turret bonus with the Rift Herald activation. Even though LWX gets plenty of money off these turret plates, it's also pushing mid. So huge push here for Cloud9. Lots of map control results in a lot of extra gold. And Jarvan's starting up this dragon. Ocean Drake does slow you. It's one of the more annoying ones to go for. And there is Vulcan.
Going in, attempting the steal. But now the TPs are coming in. Tien running out to safety. The Fudge on the chase. It's the tack sweep. Finds the kill. Cloud9. This is very, very good, Kobe. This is very, very good.
Definitely plays in right into their gameplay of trying to accelerate this game, open up longer lanes to work with here. Fudge getting an extra kill on bottom side is huge for them too, because he had been shut down so early on in this game. You know, with the CS discrepancy plus then the death on mid, he's at least gone to his Divine Sunder and should be able to be another one of the parts of this 1-3-1 setup for them. Blabber as well, another QSS already purchased. So all of these early kills for Cloud9 being invested in trying to nullify the Malzahar pick. Here is the teleport. Again, Perks is answering so much for C9 all over the map. Realm Warp up to the top, and even though Fudge does go down, he's able to do enough damage to set up the extra chase down here. Hands this one over to Blabber. Realm Warp immediately here for the catch and flashes for the empowered root to ensure another kill for Blabber. Perks is just hand-feeding his jungler. He's like, I already got my QSS. Here's a bunch of money. Go buy one for yourself, buddy.
The new Axevec replay looking good for Cloud9. You can see massive individual gold discrepancy. Now, on a champion like Malzahar, you can just be that utility. You can just be that ult. But as you so well highlighted, Kobe, the more that people pay this QSS tax, the less and less effective that ultimate is going to be. You know, the Jarvan, we always expect to be this champion that can be highly impactful in the early game. Usually get a lot of these balls rolling early on, but it just has not been the case. Cloud9 ahead for the vast majority of this game. That said, LWX certainly getting the better of bottom side as he has been left on an island for so long while Cloud9 have been fighting top side.
Another thing too, to think about when you're forming your composition. If you are going to rely a lot on some heavy CC, you generally don't want 2 AP carries, because then QSS also finds value with the magic resist. So, you know, it is actually quite good value for Cloud9 with both solo laners on FPX being AP and there being so much CC. Oh, this one does land.
Cataclysm immediate flash out alongside the QSS. He's going to use the ulti to go for the disengage. Now, nothing else can be traded for this, in that case for Cloud9. Sven will be able to push at least a little bit in mid lane, but there are no big objectives to go for. Fudge just catching a wave on the bottom side.
Yeah, this is definitely good for Fudge to try and catch up further into this game. Meanwhile, Rift Herald number 2 on the map, and FPX, since they fully committed everybody up to the topside defense, can look flank around Sven.
Getting caught out. Sven immediately going to be locked up. That's the charm into the knock. He's going to try to go over the wall, but Tian already flashing a little bit early. Sven trying to stick it out, knowing that he's dead anyway. Nuguri going to grab one in the meantime on the top side. Just like that, 2 quick kills over to the side of FPX.
Yeah, Tian's like, all right, I'm going to flash over here just in case, waiting arms open. So Sven says, I guess I'm not flashing. I will save my cooldown.
I will try to give the kill to the Rakan, I suppose. But FPX felt like they were starting to fall behind, but really good heads-up play, really good flank coming in from Tian. Perk's still pushing in on the top side of the map, but it is going to be mid lane tower, the first mid lane tower of the game, taken down by FPX. It's going to free up so much of this vision, a little bit deeper control, and Perks, well, he will grab these top side waves and a tier 2 tower.
Oh man, those things are so juicy now too. Picks up the gold. I believe he got local gold before realm warping out there because it was very close timing. That's definitely a very big important part about the extra buffs to the outer towers on the second side. Here's another look at the top side attempts there from them though. Great accuracy from Vulcan. You mentioned earlier about how impactful his roams early were on this squad. Does hit the you know, center of the ultimate there, but guess what his reward is? Goes down, feeds over another kill.
Yeah. I mean, it's brutal, because if there's like a 1/10 of a second where you know Nuguri's just mashing the R key and it goes through. The chain CC almost flawless enough, maybe to delay it, maybe to give him enough time to walk away or get out. But Kennen ult, especially with Electrocute,
yeah,
very scary prospect.
He had been the perfect support. 006, just setting everyone up, all the assists. Dream. Yeah. Meanwhile, though, it is going to still be the same game plan. Even though you get picked off like that, some more gold going over to FPX. C9 now with an attempt for bottom side brush play, but you can see they're doubling up on their split pushers. They had Ryze hover behind Camille, just allowing Fudge to get up to the tower. Meanwhile, Misfortune trading the top side turret for FPX, so they're not losing extra territory here, getting basically a 2-for-1 on objectives with Rift Herald being done at the same time.
Again, very good lane assignments from FPX in this context. Still difficult, I imagine, to fight Cloud9 straight up, but LWX being able to match the tower, Cloud9 are picking up on top of grabbing this Herald. Certainly a good sign for them as Cloud9 might push for a little bit more. Again, as you highlighted, it's been a long time. We got used to tier 2 towers just being absolutely worthless, but ever since they've been worth 650 gold, they are meaningful, they are impactful.
Definitely true. Always have a high priority on those. Dragon going to be given over in exchange, so in the end,
not bad.
2-for-2 on objectives and does split, so definitely takes out the early soul possibilities for this game because they were taken so late in the game. That's not really going to be in the cards for either side here as far as the stacking does count. That's kind of good for C9 if they can actually continue to play the side lanes and try and put pressure on FPX that way. Doinb does have his cleanse and flash available though, so looking for your patented Malzahar play, patented pick here for them. They can definitely have the big wombo combo. Crisp ready to lock up everybody else, and they're trying to use these cooldowns to get some deep vision inside the jungle, some more area that they can actually find those plays, find those pickoffs. Meanwhile, Cloud9 just committing Perks up to the top side for the split push.
Absolutely. The question is, are they willing to commit Nuggery's TP to send him back to the top side of the map to defend this push, or are they going to fully commit to this bottom push? They've got Shelly charging in. That's the tier 2 tower. Looks like they're not going to push for anything else. Happy to just have the recalls already coming out. Cloud9 not going to look to follow up. So a little bit of gold lost here on the top side of the map without anyone there to pick up that wave. But that said, with the cannon there, probably only a cannon, maybe a melee. J4 will be there to catch the rest.
And you can see how the slight difference in timing of being able to use the Rift Trail charge to finish off that bottom turret does have a big impact. That extra timing on damage on the turret means the difference of, oh, did Perks have enough time to take down the rest of this inhibitor turret on top side? Early recalls from FPX go out, charge goes down, extra turret gold acquired, and defense in time to reset there, so no problem for them. Now it's still the question, though, of this big fight that they're trying to set up, trying to get their Wombo combo down.
Have to lay down a little revision to do so. Of course, the luxury that FPX have is that they've already broken the mid lane tower. We give them a lot of passive control over this area of the map. Sven with the Ezreal does have a lot of tools to take it back pretty safely. Something we'll keep our eyes on is the vision control. We're still very far away from Baron. It feels like it's been such a long game already, but it's only 19 minutes in.
And even if you don't have perfect information on sweeping, you should be cognizant of where the entire team that you're facing just was on the map, and you can just theorize where they've left their wards. So Cloud9, the biggest thing on their mind is the flank from this Kennen. You know, Nuggery has flash, he has teleport, he's got his proto belt plus Sork shoes, so that is a huge ultimate you have to avoid. And the entire FPX team was just on bottom side of the map, so they know that they left their wards down there. They move in, they clear out with both control wards here up towards blue quadrant, cleared out the bottom side, and have done their homework basically. Cloud9 for the last minute here have been clearing out wards. They've almost found them all before they rotate over to Baron, and Perk should find the last one, so good job, clean sweep there.
Nope. Slow, steady game. It was so explosive early on, but as the tier 1s and even some of the tier 2s started to fall, both teams slowing down a little bit, much more vision control. No one really overstaying or overextending on side lanes, just a lot of traded objectives. A lot of cross-mapping. Have to see if how that is going to develop. Is now it looks like we do have at least 2 members of FPX committed onto the bottom side, maybe hoping to catch someone from Cloud9 overextending.
Yeah, they're doing the hand-holding strategy from elementary school. Nobody goes to split push alone. Where's your partner at, please? So you always have to have someone hover behind you when you're running versus this split push from Cloud9. Everybody's got their hand-holding done, and they get the wave in.
I like how the metaphor is hand-holding, but it's like the thing that even pro teams mess up all the time. Because like hand-holding, like we figured it out at 4 and we're like, all right, it's fine, it's over with. But like dying on a side lane happens all the time in high-level League of Legends.
And I have to give a lot of credit, you know, TTN here for it. You know, Jarvan, he's actually remaining efficient while hovering behind the people that are pushing out the waves on side. Before it was bottom lane. You know, he's taking Krugs there. Now hovering behind, doing BSEs, you know, pushing out on top side. Still remaining efficient, takes his own Krugs there, sweeps down for the vision. So he's not losing golden experience while he's also covering 4 teammates. And now that Kennen has finished the Horizon focus, this Kennen ultimate, like we can't talk it up enough. There's so much damage. This 2-item power spike for Kennen is absolutely insane if he gets the big flank off. Flash plus proto belt plus teleport means Cloud9 are spending so much energy trying to find every single ward, every single flank avenue that it can come in from.
But as we see Nuggery go back to the bottom side to try to match the push that's coming in from Fudge, it will free up Cloud9 to feel more confident to move into this darkness. Yes, Doombe's scary, yes, Tian's scary, but without the Kennen there, not nearly as big of a threat. Fudge also going to take this time to take away a couple of camps. Has to be careful not to stay for too long, but Camille, notoriously slippy when it comes to slippery when it comes to making slip. What?
You just reminded me of Slippy the Frog from
exactly
Star Fox. Notorious Slippy, and it's that's the most comical character in that game too. Just all over the place. Camille, do a barrel roll.
Oh, no.
And Camille actually does barrel rolls when she hooks on top, so it's thematic. Well done, Dracos.
I'm not bad at English. I'm big brain. There's a distinction there.
I'm the one on 3 hours of sleep.
Now we see, of course, The Dragon going down, only the second Dragon of the game here from the side of FPX, as you highlighted earlier, Kobe. The Cloud Soul, the Cloud Drake going down, but the Cloud Soul very far away for either side at this point in the game. So if you decide is hoping to go for the Soul or the Elder win condition, it's really just not there yet.
It is a scary one to think about, though. If you think about Cloud Soul on this FPX squad, you know, both the mobility aspect and the ultimate cooldown reduction aspect for these champions, it is dream scenario for Kennen, even for Malzahar as well. So while it is far in the future, it's one of those things where you can't put it off for too long before having to deal with it. Eventually, it's going to be a very big issue.
Yeah, no procrastinating here, Cloud9. You gotta respect the potential win condition. That said, you can see, ooh, big damage. That is the threat of the lethality MF. But it's a very controlled, very patient game. Now, Cloud9 do still hold on to a gold lead, but 2K earlier in the game was massive. As we get later and later, it is going to feel less and less meaningful, especially as a lot of this itemization completions come through. And Cloud9 do still have, I think the biggest thing is they've made it over the hump of the QSS tax, and that's a huge factor. But we haven't really seen it come into play yet because nothing has really happened since they got those QSSs.
Yeah, what they want to do is going to be a lot about the setup for this because the gold is so close and because FPX have so much team fighting prowess. The setup will be so important for Cloud9. Can they get the small advantage of like pushing on the side lane first? Nice secure there by Blabber. At least FPX do deny it from being handed over to Perks. That's kind of the goal when you're going for those invades. They force Blabber to smite, they force him to take it. But with the triple QSS here, if Cloud9 are able to shove out on side first with their strong split pushing advantage and then threaten the objectives that FPX would want to set up around with the possible flanks, because they still have plenty of CC to harass you with if you're actually committing to one of these things, then you can get the small advantage of making FPX choose. Are they going to actually hard force on this objective, turn off of Baron, turn off of the Dragon, or lose out on minion waves for that price, or go answer the minion waves and kind of collect them? Thus far, it's been, oh, okay, we'll just collect. And that's why it's stalled out a bit, is both sides have been just collecting.
Trading farm of Perks. Now going to get engaged on, is going to use the QSS, but it might not be enough. Perfect coming in for Chris. Predicts it, is going to connect him with the edge of the charm. Perks now running for the hills. He's very fast with the phase rush, but not fast enough. The Realm Orb comes out, but he will not escape. Massive shutdown going over to Nuguri. Can they make something bigger out of it?
Great prediction there from Crisp. The slightly late QSS, not immediate from Perks. Slight delay gives him enough range to get in there, and then Chris flash W's ahead of him. So when he flashes, still on the knockup, they take down Perks. Guess what? That makes the setup on Baron that much easier. Can C9 stop them with 4?
Blabber's ult is big. Ezreal's ult is big. Nuguri now stepping forward. Kennen ult.
Early
now
smite.
going into the pit. Big damage. Early smite has already come out. Fudge now in the area. The MF ult not going to really connect on too many people, but that is the Kennen ult into the midst of the entire team. Fudge is still living. Sven still living. FPX. They overstayed. They overfought. They thought they had a Baron, but they got nothing. Kills going over to the side of Cloud9, and now it's the Baron they've got their eyes on.
It's still so dangerous. Yes, you picked off the Rise, but Blabber Ultimate Baron Pit is just a death trap when you're playing against Kiana, and the Blabber Ultimate forces out an early smite. C9 know that there's no scary issue with them finishing Baron, so they just focus on the fight. They keep the members of FPX pinned inside the pit. Baron DPS was even helping them out the entire time. Huge pickup for Cloud9. Perks, Galaxy Brain getting picked off, baiting them into Baron like the true leader he is.
And I think the big thing here is we highlighted this Kennen ult for so long. You already talked about how impactful Blabber's ult was, but by the time it's used, C9's already completely split up. It essentially does nothing.
The Axe replay, you can see, as you're illustrating Dracos, the Kennen ultimate got like 50% uptime on Leona alone. That is it. The Ezreal was outside of the range with exhaust on him. You know, Sven using his range very well there here. Later stages of the game should be a similar story there. It's going to be hard for FPX to close that gap unless, as we keep illustrating earlier on in the fights or early on in the game, how critical the flank is for them to get actually behind onto this back line. And so when you pin yourselves inside one of those objectives, you're putting yourself in the death trap. And so very well done there by Cloud9 to defend 4v5, but positioning advantage can sometimes mean so much more than even a full character. Here is Perks.
Locked up immediately, going to QSS, so he does a lot of damage back, but Nuguri just too strong, already has the Void Staff, shreds through those resistances. Fudge needs to be answered on the top side, but a positive exchange there for the side of FPX.
Yeah, got one little swipe on the tower on top side. Should be able to finish up at least on secondary turret here. So Perks goes down, which means FPX do get to clean minion waves as well as picking up Dragon number 3. And it really does a lot to take away some of the power of this Baron. This relieves so much pressure on FPX. So another critical pickoff there on Perks. First one you can kind of meme on for being Galaxy Brain bait. This one is just, well, we gave up a lot of pressure. We lost the Dragon during our Baron.
Perks on side lanes, dying alone, a tale as old as time.
I think it's a great coordinated effort there from FPX. So, you know, Nuguri just waits inside the brush, goes for his all-in, and then they pick up the objectives afterwards. They did end up losing secondary tower towards mid, but that's not a super large objective considering the context of the extra Baron that was on Cloud9 anyway. So huge job there by Nuguri specifically to mitigate a lot of these losses.
Absolutely. And I think, again, the big scary side lane threat of Perks when he's not immediately jumped on by a Kennen is still very much there. Fudge is sitting pretty strong as well. As highlighted before, it was 3 QSSs, now it's 4. The options for doing B rather limited. Now, he did go Abyssal Mass, so clearly he's very utility focused. It's 15% increased damage if you immobilize a character, but a bit more of a tanky item certainly than a DPS item. Now we have to see how they're going to play this one out. Because I think at the end of the day, this Baron buff is temporary. We got 20 seconds left. Yes, it is a positive 2k Baron power play. It is a 4k lead for Cloud9, but they are staring down Soul Point from the side of FPX. And at the end of the day, while the last Kennen ultimate killed Perks, and the one before that one did diddly, it's still really important that the fight setup is there. So this might come down to a single well-set-up fight by either side.
And guess what? He's going Death Cap next. Like, this is just the most Chad Kennen build. This is just full damage, no safety. Get that Banshee's Veil out of my face. Don't care about it. Don't even care about any sort of stopwatch utility here. He's going for a Death Cap next. Another big thing about Horizon Focus, it's a lot of just flat AP in addition to the extra damage on stun targets and super long range ones. So it works so well with a Depth Cap build and plenty of flat magic penetration coming from your Sork Shoes plus your Proto Belt. So it's just turbo team kill. It's going to be basically the tail of this game. Does he get off the game-winning, we melt 5 people Kennen ultimates, you know, or is it kited out, QSS'd out, and then result in a team fight win for Cloud9?
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult, and there's certainly a lot of pressure on Nuguri here to make this happen. I love the build, I love the confidence, but not having a Zhonya's makes it even higher risk. There's a chance he gets one pop before he even makes it into the middle of the team, you know, and that is the risk you run, but it will be feast or famine, as you highlighted. Either you're winning the team fight instantly or you're losing it all.
I mean, both teams think about it a lot. So on the side of Cloud9, from their point of view, they're thinking, okay, we need to mark this Kennen. It is going to be the job of Leona, the job of Fudge as well. Everybody's got their eyes peeled for the last positions of Kennen so that they can throw some of the CC at him. Because he doesn't have a Banshee's Veil, because he doesn't have any of these defensive options, it's their front line's job to mark him.
Blabber immediately going to get just deleted. Fudge can now go in. There's no more ult in the area. Vulcan now coming up as well. As they take down this Kennen, it should set them up nicely. Not for any major objectives, but at least shutting him down for a little bit here. Nuguri going to get burned down there. 1 for 1 in the end.
Okay, so they marked him. Little bit close there on the inside. It still takes so much damage. Let's take a look at the attempt from Tien.
Yeah, it's not an attempt. Okay. We're trading side lane picks here. He's going to go in a quick sidestep there. Means Perks is going to make it out to safety, but Crisp might still be chasing. The MF does have a ton of damage. No armor on the rise to speak of. He does manage to get the knock-up, locks him in place, manages to get out, but still, Crisp, the predictions are clean. LWX comes in to back him up, and that's the kill.
Yeah, this time, though, you can tell Perks doesn't flash. He's just walking that direction because he knows it's going to be easy for Crisp to just use the W to cut him off since there's so many members following up, too. So no way for him to run out. FPX strike back. They get a pick for themselves, a pick of their own, and punish the side lane play from C9. Guess what, Dracos? This means we get some more exciting times ahead of us because we've had enough side lane play. Now time for Baron. Now time for the Cloud Soul to arrive shortly as well.
Riddle me this, Kobe. Last time Perks recklessly died in the side lane, and Baron was an objective on the map. What happened?
Cloud9 won the team fight and got the Baron afterwards. I like where you're going with this.
That might be on the more delusional side of hopeful analysis. We'll have to find out, though. FPX, you have to think, will respect a little bit more the potential for the Kiana to be big damage in this area, in this pit. They also have a massive wave pushing in on the bottom side that will require some attention, and the only TP on their team right now is Perks. He's going to do his best to go pick that one. And it looks like FPX, eyes set right now on the Cloud Soul, not nearly as concerned with trying to force the Baron.
Yeah, exactly. They should not force right now because look how close they are to death cap on Kennen. When Snuggery gets this, and he's even close to level 18, like this man is going to be a monster. You finish death cap, you have an explosion of power. If they could funnel him a bit more money to finish that, he's even got teleport, he could get back quickly. They don't have setup, they don't have vision on the Dragon though, so Cloud9 at least avoid that opportunity. And I think it's a safe call from FPX. They really want to have that completion there. Nuggery though, level 18 now achieved, and Vulcan feels it.
Certainly does. No ultimate there in that exchange, and they have to be careful about walking through any potential pinch here. Sven using the power of the Ezreal ultimate just to clear away the wave. But as highlighted, it does mean giving up the bot lane tier 2 as Perks just continues to push forward, debating how long he can stick around on this one. Cloud9 can potentially spit FPX's decision-making by forcing a Baron here. FPX have no vision in the area. Cloud9 can be relatively confident of this.
Yeah, C9 want to draw them into the river so you can get more value out of your Kiana ultimate. Makes it so much easier to hit since you get...
Flash forward, Perks locked up and instantly taken down. That's going to stop it in its tracks, and Kennen doesn't even look like he needs a stopwatch right now.
Death timers get pretty long past 30 minutes, so 50 full seconds on Perks, and that Kiana ultimate whipping is going to mean Cloud9 have zero threat. So FPX full priority on the map right now, even though Nuggery did invest his flash in his ultimate. Since there's no Kiana ultimate threat, that was just such a huge whiff there.
Big whiff, big death, and I think Perks playing on the edge a little bit too much here on the side lane, getting caught out there, maybe not expecting the collapse from two members, but now FPX, this should just be an uncontested Baron. The Ezreal ulti coming down, but it will not be the Miracle Steal. Now FPX are going to have control. They're going to have entire control of the map for 3 minutes. 30 seconds after that, the Cloud Soul will be there, up and available for them to take, and the death cap is here for Nuggery. Things are getting much better for FPX as we get later into this game.
They're starting to sing the song. I can hear it. They just keep picking them off. Oh my goodness, the door wide open now for FPX. See, a little bit of patience goes a long ways, Daniel.
Yeah.
And FPX have it in spades. Now, with Baron buff on, it is just so much easier to deal with split push because even when the split pushers, their answers to your hard, siege from FPX would normally be, oh, side lane threat, make them recall. But with Baron empowered recall, it takes but a moment to get right back to base, and they have all the answers to picking you off. So,
and I'll be honest, analytically, I think I was baited into a false sense of security about the strength of Ryze on a side lane from years of footage. But I've never really seen a full AP Kennen, and this has made me question what I understand. If he's got Flash and ult up and available and Perks is caught unawares, that's not an interactive champion. You just die.
Nice QSS. It does get you out of stuns, but the best CC is death. Just full damage kill you.
Time for a G. Oh!
Okay, there's no need for the styling. It's a little early.
A little disrespect. A little early for disrespect.
No. Yeah, he's got on the wrong button there. He's probably trying to control ward.
I like that you actually had the analytical point ready for that. Doonby now stepping forward, the siege coming in. This is the power of the Baron. Perks in the meantime sticking to the side lane. Is going to look to trade one inhibitor for one inhibitor, but FPX might just look to end the game.
Yep.
A lot of tools to get these fights kicked off. Keep in mind, LWX, we haven't really seen a big ultimate yet, but the MF is massive. Good damage forcing Glaber back. He's got no health left. They're instantly cutting through all of C9. Perks on a side lane. Not nearly fast enough to end the game, but now it's a race. The Ryze just does not have enough power. Glaber trying to buy as much time as he can. Sven trying to buy as much time as he can, but the base race is not there for C9. FPX will take the game.
And they make your heart beat a little faster, but FPX confident in their finish on the Nexus, as they should be. With the Baron buff, they're pushing power much stronger, able to force it all the way through. I would say a valiant effort there by Cloud9, sticking to their game plan, sticking to the split push, had some good opportunities, but just too many picks by FPX at critical moments. Player of the game for me, for sure, Nuggery. All-star over there. Kennen absolutely dominated this game. He made the individual plays, making the picks. He also was a big threat for the team fights, making Cloud9 second guess all of their ward placement, sweep behind them at every opportunity. And that full damage Kennen is definitely rewarded.
Absolutely is, and I think it's an especially crushing victory because of how good the early game was from C9. Shutting down Doonby early on, the Malzahar felt useless, they got all their QSSs.